Hey guys, Grandy Tamias here, and if you've been following the channel in recent months, you may know that I am extremely hyped for Jurassic World Dominion, and I'm definitely excited to see this franchise go a step up in terms of depicting dinosaurs accurately in mainstream media. Certainly not perfect, oversized Quetzalcoatlus, but definitely an improvement over before. And the prologue from last year really captivated my interest. But in the back of my mind, I could not help but think of another movie that begins with showing dinosaurs at the end of the Cretaceous period. And then I realized, why hasn't anyone ever made a video elaborating on the dinosaur scene at the beginning of Transformers Age of Extinction? Yeah, I know this movie sucks, even though I will admit that it is, unironically, my favorite of the 5 Transformers films that Michael Bay directed. I must specify, that he directed, because Bumblebee and the G186 movie are infinitely better. But we're not here to discuss the quality of this film, that can be done another day, but I will be showing how little of a crap Michael Bay cared about paleontological accuracy in favor of blowing up crap. So let's get on with the scene. We begin with a fleet of snail ships piloted by an alien race simply referred to as the Creators, traveling to Earth at the end of the Cretaceous period approximately 65.5 million years ago, give or take half a million years. 8 years on and I'm still salty that we never got an explanation as to who these aliens were. I wanted them to be the Quintessons, goddammit! Anyway, we then cut to the planet below where a small two-legged beaked dinosaur steals a fish from some juveniles of its species and slaps one of them off the waterfall with its tail. Gee, what an ass. Since this is pretty much the main dinosaur of the sequence, I'll be spending quite a bit of time on it. From its beaked mouth, tiny horns, and bristle-feathered tail, this is Cetacosaurus. Its genus name means parrot lizard, and it's an early member of the Ceratopsia suborder, meaning it's related to Triceratops and other dinosaurs with large neck frills and horns. However, unlike its massive cousin, Sitakasaurus was only 2 meters long, including its tail, and ran on 2 legs. Sitakasaurus is known from hundreds of exquisitely well-preserved specimens across 11 species, so we have a pretty good idea of how it looked and lived in real life. I must say, I applaud this film for featuring a relatively obscure dinosaur, and that they got some of the major key details about its physical appearance right for what was known at the time. Unfortunately, there are several major inaccuracies that it suffers from, starting with the time and place that it's depicted as living in the film. Sitakasaurus was native to Asia, with most fossils being found in what are now China and Mongolia, in geological formations from the early to middle Cretaceous period between 120 and 100 million years ago, meaning this little guy was already extinct by the time of the end Cretaceous extinction event. Sitakasaurus also lived in a temperate forest environment dominated by conifer trees, and so would be much out of place in a rocky valley only covered sparsely with small plants. It doesn't help that we don't know where on Earth this sequence is taking place, so in addition to being in the wrong time, it could also be on the wrong continent. Oh yeah, and it did not eat fish. Sitakasaurus was a plant eater. 2 years after the release of the film, in 2016, it was announced that scientists were able to determine the color of Sitakasaurus by using an electron microscope to examine tiny organelles called melanosomes, preserved in the skin impressions of some fossils. From the shape of the melanosomes, Sitakasaurus would have been mostly brown in life with a lighter color of tan on the underbelly. This would have given the animal countershading, which is where lighter colors counteract the shadows produced on the animal's body from below, and darker colors counteract the sunlight coming from above. This makes the animal appear uniformly one color, and is less likely to catch the eye of a potential predator. Many prey animal species such as deer and antelope use this method of coloration today. Now, it's harder to critique the other dinosaurs in this sequence due to the geographic ambiguity, though I will say that this sauropod should not be able to gallop. According to this article, large sauropods such as those of the Titanosauria family were not able to surpass 7.2 kilometers per hour. So while they certainly would have been killed by the cyberforming seeds as shown in the movie, it would have reached them far sooner. As for what kind of sauropod they look very similar to Brachiosaurus with their upward angled necks, but I think I can narrow down a more accurate candidate based on the time period and size compared to the Cetacosaurus. Meet Alamosaurus. Found in the American Southwest and a member of the aforementioned Titanosauria family, Alamosaurus was one of, if not the largest sauropod to have lived up to the end Cretaceous extinction event, reaching 30 meters or just shy of 100 feet. It also lived alongside T-Rex. In fact, you may have already seen this dinosaur and not realized it. In the visitor's center of the original Jurassic Park film, the dinosaur skeleton seen being attacked by a T-Rex is often cited as being Alamosaurus. Oh, and I also have some pictures I took of an Alamosaurus skeleton at the Perot Museum in Dallas, Texas, which, if you've never been to, I highly recommend visiting. In the end, this probably isn't Alamosaurus. It's more likely Brachiosaurus or some other anachronistically placed sauropod, but it's fun to think about what these dinosaurs could have been had this movie been more scientifically accurate. Finally, while this isn't so much about the beginning, I do want to mention one of the Dinobots that we see later in the film. Which first, can I just say, I find it odd that we never got a properly explained origin for them. You might think that them getting their dinosaur modes had something to do with the opening scene, but all that did was explain with a transformium. Why couldn't they have just called it Cybertonium like in the cartoon? But yeah, all that scene did was explain where the alien metal came from. It didn't turn any of the dinosaurs into full-on Cybertronian beings. Anyway, the Dinobot Scorn's alternate mode of a Spinosaurus is of particular note. While the real Spinosaurus definitely did not have 3 sails, that's not why I'm bringing him up. The sail thing was more likely an artistic liberty, but otherwise, he was pretty accurate. That was, until a few months after the release of the film, when it became public knowledge that the posture of Spinosaurus was unlike that of most other large predatory dinosaurs. Instead of having tall hind limbs, they were shorter like its front limbs, which would have helped it swim better in its environment. Another Spinosaurus discovery in 2020 would reveal another aquatic adaptation, a paddle-shaped tail. Spinosaurus may have been an apex predator of its time, but compared to the other Dinobots, Scorn would have had some combat disadvantages if he were designed more like his real-life counterpart. He'd be much closer to the ground and not very fast on land. You know, if Scorn ever appeared in a future Transformers cartoon, I think that they should make him a baryonyx. But anyway, I hope you all learned something new, and feel free to let me know in the comments what you thought of the opening dinosaur sequence in Age of Extinction, as well as suggestions for future video topics related to prehistoric animals, Transformers, Sonic, Alvin and the Chipmunks, etc. Don't forget that you're also welcome to leave a like, subscribe, and share with others who you think would benefit from this information. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed, have a nice day, and thank you for your time.